wanna run away. I think I'll go back to that place I stay and play on the server the RedCubed way.
Hello, people. It's Poet. We're back on the RedCubed server, and today, actually, I had to delete footage as I used to do in the old season all the time. This is the first time that I did it in this season. I recorded for a good 45 minutes or so, and it wasn't because I didn't like the content. It wasn't because the content was a little bit too harsh or anything like that. Quite the contrary, actually. But new things have arisen, and I thought it was time. It was time to kind of update what I was saying and kind of give you guys the entire picture. So today, this episode is selfishly about myself, which I mean a lot of them are, obviously, being my series, but this one specifically is talking about some of the problems that I've had as of late, and I'm sure as many of you are aware, it had to do with money, mostly, which is something that, you know, so many people have problems with that I almost feel guilty that I'd even consider myself to have a problem when there are people far worse than me out there in the world. And that kind of brings me to stuff that I want to talk about as well. But we're going to get all into it. We are running out of spruce trees here. I think I need a lot more for my house, so I'm going to actually start replanting some of them if nobody really minds. I think someone was actually wanting to build in this space, so perhaps I should take as many saplings as I can and just move them elsewhere. I think that might be what I do. I think this tree farm was sort of temporary anyway. 12, 13, good old lucky number 13 is, I think, a good number to end with. I want an even number. There's an even number right there. Okay. So, I'll wait until I'm done eating this potato. There we go. Okay. So, this goes back to the electricians that I was talking about. Basically, to summarize, TLDR, right? To summarize, I had money problems to the point where I was desperate. Extraordinarily desperate. I've never been so desperate in all my life. Oh, before I get into it, look at this. Hey, neighbor. Sorry about the eyesore. Home will look nicer soon, Fedrin. And I think it looks pretty incredible. I know that in another episode I kind of said, like, oh no, she's taking away the view. Not at all. Plus, I got this massive, really cool looking tree. I think it's pretty cool. I've actually been in there. It's a nice concept. And she's left me a name tag plus all of this dark wood. I love it. There we go. Thank you, Fedrin. And Ice also left me a record disc. I like it. Get this out of here. My record collection is growing, as you can see. It is quite... Most of the cats and the 13s are from dungeons, so that tells you just how lucky I've been in dungeons. It's absolutely insane. And I know that other people on the server also have had a couple cats and 13s from dungeons as well. But that is absolutely incredible. I can't wait to have more. Okay, all of my stuff for the horses, all my collectibles. Yep, it's going good. Okay, but to get into it, I was desperate as far as money goes. I know that it's been an issue for me in the past, and I've never really been sure what's going to happen the next day, you know. Will I be okay? Will I have problems? I'm never really sure. Right? Oh, crap. Oh, no. I didn't want to make these into planks. Oh, it's the dark wood that I want to make into planks. Oh, I screwed up. I screwed up bad. Ah. Because they're just slightly off color, you know? Like if I look at the difference, here's the dark wood, and here's the spruce wood, you know? They actually complement each other quite well. Maybe I should replace this floor with the spruce? Well, whatever. Something for future, maybe. Man, I'm disappointed by that. Okay, well, all I need is some dark wood. Like so. Okay. So I've had money problems in the past, and I often tell people, like, don't think that it has anything to do with YouTube. YouTube has nothing to do with it. I make more money now than I was when I was the IT manager for that company. The problem now is that my bills have become so high that it's super difficult to cope with it, you know? And again, it has nothing to do with YouTube, which I know a lot of people will start to quickly blame. But in fact, if it wasn't for YouTube, I'd be even in a much worse spot, which I can't even imagine personally. But it's totally what would happen. Okay, so I'm just looking at how this is all set up. We're going to redo it over here. Looks like I already started. Looks like I started all of them. That's good. So we're going to do this one first, I think. Yeah. So background story. Like I said, it started all with the electricians. The electricians came in. I've gone through like 7 of them. And of the 7, only 1 or 2 really kind of stood out as being even remotely honest. And that's ultimately who I decided to go with, despite it being a little bit more expensive. Now, further backstory is that either way, I can't afford it. You know, that's the problem. And that's where all these problems lie, is that I need the electrician to come in and fix things, but I can't afford it. And funnily enough, and yes, I'm using the word funnily enough, it reminds me of this old Seinfeld episode. You remember the old sitcom Seinfeld? Well, there was this episode, if you haven't seen it, where Kramer, the next door funny guy, meant well, and he was trying to help a mom and pop shop, basically. And he tried to help this mom and pop shop by telling them that they needed to get their electrical checked. And when they went and got their electrical checked, turns out that the electrical was so bad that if they didn't get it done, that they'd be reported, basically. And it reminds me of my situation, because that's essentially where I'm standing right now. Is like, my house, if I don't get it done, is number 1, it's dangerous, and number 2, I can't use the technology that I have. Okay? How does this... Okay. I'm just kind of trying to see how this is all laid out here. I got it. So I need some half slabs. Oops. Yeah, so the problem basically lies in the fact that my house is over 100 years old. And the fact that it's over 100 years old, I need to get the wiring replaced, because it's all brittle and dangerous. Not only that, but for all the technology and stuff that I have, I can't plug in the things that I want to. See if I can get this to work right. There we go. There we go. And one more there. There we go. So I think that's pretty well done. Now I just have to do the interior here. And I was doing it up like this, I think. Oops. There we go. So yeah, basically, I have a whole bunch of computers that need to be plugged in, and the current electrical could not support that. Would not, could not, just impossible to. Okay, looking at this, getting an idea. I did it on one side, and now I can't remember how it looks on the other side, you know. And even more important than that is that I couldn't use my stove, which is kind of an issue, you know. I wanted to be able to cook food. Here for months I've been using the burner or a hot plate to cook my food. Every meal that I have is basically cooked up on a hot plate, and that's it. That's all that I have got. What the heck is going on here? Something's missing. Does it have to go like that? 1, 2, 3. How does it look on the other side? I don't think I finished it on the other side either. Oh, I fell. Let's try that again. I fell. Oh, come on. Yep. Oh, I fell. Jeez. Gotta time it perfectly. Got it. Nope. I'm just gonna pillar. Okay. So it looks like I placed a block there like I did on the other side. And that's about it. What I could do is go in like this, because then it's nice, simple, too high opening. But then that doesn't look right. Could go like that. Still a too high opening. Yes, that's good. Okay. So I don't want this to go on too long, so I'll just kind of, I won't skip the rest of the backstory, but basically I didn't like living the way that I was living, and I didn't like having the situation that I was in. For example, like basically in order to eat anything, I had to cook it on a hot plate, and you know, I was so sick of eating ramen noodles and mac and cheese day in, day out, day in, day out, because it's really the only thing that I can cook. I was physically getting sick by it, you know? So that's why I wanted to really get it done. And what I was having to do is, like, if I wanted to go cook something, for example, I'd have to turn off all my computers, turn off all the lights in the house, turn off everything, because everything was wired together in such a way that, you know, if I put too much on it, it would overload it, and my house had the potential to burn down. Not good. So essentially, something had to give. Something had to be done. And so what happened is I went to this electrician and I said, something needs to be done. And I took care of it. And he charged me $20,000 for it. And I don't have $20,000. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I don't have $20,000 sitting around waiting to just be spent. I just don't. I'm not rich by any means. My family's not rich by any means. Recently, I even asked my dad for some money to get me by, you know, because here I am. I didn't have enough money for food at the end of the day, and I'm getting ahead of myself, but basically what happened is I got the work done on my house. The electrical work is done. And I'm sitting pretty, right? But then the guy comes and says, okay, well, the work's done. Pay me. And I said, well, you know, I can't really pay you until I get this and this and this money. And, you know, like I'm trying to make excuses to try to stall him up a little bit. and he wouldn't hear of it. He needed the money right now, and I was, what can I do? What can I do? I was in trouble. I was in big trouble. I all of a sudden needed a huge amount of money, an unimaginable amount of money that I could never fathom. It was just, here, $20,000. Yeah, sure, I have that. No. So I was in hot water. I went to the bank, and this was over the Christmas. Well, Christmas had passed. New Year's was there, and people, you gotta acknowledge the fact that they're with their families during this time. You know, they shouldn't be working. You shouldn't work too hard during the holidays. And yet, this person at the bank, I call her up, and I say to her, like, listen, I need money to swing me past the next few days because this guy needs a bill paid, like, right now. So I need the money to pay the bill. And right away she says, well, you know, in order to get that, you need to fill out a loan application form, and it needs to be approved. And I interrupted her, and I said, no, like, listen, I need it right now. Like, there's no panel that has to review this loan. Like, I need it. And if I don't have it, then I'm in trouble. Because he's waiting. He's waiting for his money. And I had already told him, like, okay, let me have a few hours and I'll get your money. You know, I'll get what I owe you. And you got to look at it from the electrician's point of view. Is, you know, he thought that I had the money. I was a little bit dishonest with him when he said, okay, what's your budget? And I gave him a budget, but I didn't have that budget, you know? So I knew that this would come back to me. I just knew it. But I was hoping that by then I'd at least have the money, and unfortunately, with the way that things went, I didn't. So, there were issues. Okay, this one's done, I think. Oops. So, I went to the bank and interrupted her and basically said, no, I need the money, like, right now. Because this is a problem. This is a huge problem. And he wants his money. So she says, you know, it was Friday at the time. New Year's. You know, we can't. It was Friday, really late already, like 4:30 in the afternoon. And she says, I've got an appointment. I've got 2 appointments that take me to 5 o'clock. You know, if I have time at the end of the day, then I'll do my best to see if I can push the loan through, and we'll see what we can do. But I'm not guaranteeing anything. Chances are it'll be Monday. And I was kind of panicking again because I told the guy that it would be that day. But I was figuring in my mind, you know, if I told him that it was Monday, I'm sure that he wouldn't really complain about it too much. You know, what's a couple days? What's the weekend, right? So I said, okay, but my fingers are crossed. You know, I'm doing the best. Yeah, I'm hoping that something will happen. Some kind of a miracle will happen that'll enable me to pay this guy and things will be okay. Well, she calls me up not 10 minutes later and says, my appointment just canceled. Can you come down here? And I was already out the door, basically. I had one leg out the door as I was talking to her on the phone. Yep, I'm going to be there to sign the documents, get it all approved. And so that was done. And I mean, she didn't have to do that, you know? Here it was a Friday, New Year's, and it wasn't exactly New Year's, but it was New Year's season, you know. Family dinners are basically constant during that time, and you know, I'd understand that she was busy, both in personal and professional life. And yet she made the time. She called me back and said that one of her appointments canceled and that I could come in and sign and get it done. Like, she didn't have to do that. She could have gone home early, but she did me the favor. And for that, this is a person that I don't even know, and they're doing me the favor of that little simple thing that basically changed my life. So I was able to get a credit line, and a credit line is not free money. You got to pay for it. And the problem was that my account was still empty. Gone. No money. And I mean no money. I've never had such a low balance in all of my life. I had $13 to my name, and I don't have food. I don't have food to eat. The power got turned off at my house, and because of unpaid bills, because all this time, like, I'm trying to fight to pay the electrician and stuff. So fast forward a couple days, and I can't afford to pay the bills that are piling up. They turn off my electricity. I don't know how to even explain how I felt. It's a sickening feeling, honestly. I was sick to my stomach that here I was, no better off than people who have nothing. And really, I had nothing. And, it was to the point that day, like, depression, I'm not a depressed person. I have known a lot of depressed people in my life. I've lived with them. I've loved them. I know what depression's like. And, thankfully I don't have it. Wait, is this right? Is this, huh? Is it supposed to look this way? Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Okay. I'm just going to go double check this other side here. Make sure it was done right. Okay. And yes, it was, I think. Wait. 1, 2, and then it drops down. I'm getting confused here. But anyway. It was at that time that this has to go up by 1. That's what the problem is. I think it's short. Is it short? Yes, it's short. There we go. Basically, at that time, I was feeling so low, so depressed. And, like, I've never felt this way before. I can clearly see why, money is the cause of a lot of suicide in the country, which is absolutely horrible. I wasn't suicidal, I'll admit that. I was not. But I can see how it could easily turn that way, I'm not going to say, like, I wasn't suicidal, but I can easily see how it could lead to that with everything piling up the way that it did. I'm very fortunate to be stronger than that. But I could see how a weaker person might have caved. And that's a scary thought in itself. Now, at that point, I went to friends. I went to you guys, the people watching, and basically laid it all out. I couldn't hide it anymore. I laid it out just as I have now, and basically said, like, listen, I don't have any money. I can't buy food. And I'm basically, my power's been turned off. I'm freezing in my house now. Things are bad. Things are worse than they've ever been, ever. And much to my surprise, people actually they came through. I can't even believe it. I started getting donations from people, you know? I started getting well wishes from people that I didn't even really know. People, complete strangers, were coming through and saying, you know, oh, I just heard about the situation. You know, and I don't know you, but I think you deserve better than that. And they would donate. And to be thankful or appreciative doesn't begin to explain how I felt. Oh, come on. Why does it keep doing that? Is it doing that on the other sides? No. It's not doing it there. It's not doing it there. What is this block even doing here? Oh, that's the corner for the continued roof. Okay. It's not doing it there. Oh, but I have... I see. Okay. Alright. Yeah, I can do that. So here I was getting donations from people that I didn't even know to help me out. And, you know, how can I even express how I felt? It was a feeling unlike anything I've ever felt in my life. You know, to be that appreciated, that people are willing to go out of their way to help you. I couldn't believe it. Just could not fathom it. Could not imagine it. It was just incredible. Ah, it's still doing it. No, stop it. Cut it out. Cut it out. No. Stop forming together. How do I do it so that it doesn't? I got an idea. If I go like this... Aha! Yes, I fooled it. That's not right. So basically what happened in the end is people donated, helped me, and ah, crap, it did it again. Let's see. Go like that, go like that. Ah! How did I do it elsewhere? How come it didn't join up elsewhere? I just don't understand it. It didn't do it here. And yet, like if I break this, now it's joined together. How do I fix that? I want that to look right. Do not want it to look like this. I want it to look like that. Okay. No! Urgh! This is so annoying, so frustrating. I just don't get it. I just don't understand. It's not doing it over here. Despite them being sort of connected. Because there's another block there, that's why. Ah. Getting upset here. But anyway, long story short is that people donated and I was able to be in a situation comfortable enough that I knew for a fact that when the mortgage payment comes out, I wouldn't be out of a home, which was my biggest fear. People paid for my mortgage, essentially, is what they did. And for that, I could never, ever repay them. Or at least that's what I thought. And then I had an idea. You know, as bad a situation that I was in, as bad as it was, I had to do something. I had to give back somehow, some way. Because I owed it to the people who donated to me, you know? I owed it to them. These are backwards, maybe. That's what's wrong. I started putting them in backwards. That's better. That's better. Means that I did it wrong here too, and I did. Okay. So I gave back in the only way that I knew how. A donation charity live stream. Where basically people could come in. I had a mod installed that let them punish me, you know. If you donate $1, zombie comes in. If you donate $20, some other horrible creature comes into the game and things like that. It was a lot of fun. And we actually raised money. Now, the charity I chose was the Heifer International Organization. And the reason that I chose them is because the entire premise of that organization is fighting poverty. Impoverished countries that don't have anything. And I mean, like, we're talking dirt hut style. Nothing. They have nothing. And they go out and give them livestock so that they can feed their village type of thing. I thought that that was so noble of them. You know, because after all, there are people in this world as a whole who are worse off than I am. Because at least now I had my power turned back on. I had the heat on. I have a roof over my head. And there are people who don't even have that. I will never think of myself before others. I had to give back. And so I raised money in honor of them. And it worked out extraordinarily well. We raised $1,039. And it was just amazing. $1,039 for charity. And I mean, now not only did something wonderful happen to me, but something wonderful will happen to someone else in this world. And I mean, really, that's the best feeling of all. I mean, that's what the holiday season was all about at the end of the day. And I mean, that's just life is funny sometimes, you know, because someone else in this world, if I think about it now, someone else in this world will, oh God, Fabe. Anyway, sentimental moment interrupted by Fabe. If I think about the world as a whole, you know, as funny as it is, like, I was in a bad situation, a horrible situation. I think I've pulled through. The donation that people gave me, it came into my bank account just today, because it does take like 5 days for PayPal to process it. So it just came in today, and now I'm okay. Now I'll be okay. I will get past this month. And then next month, that, you know, if it's a battler or not, at least it won't be even worse, you know. I'll be able to fight it. But, you know, to be in a situation where, honestly, if I hadn't been in that situation, the people in those impoverished countries who have nothing, let's see. Oh wait, I can turn off. That's right, I can turn off game sounds now. Weather sound off. Ah. But yeah, like I was saying, the people in those countries that don't have anything, the ones that I donated to, they will have something now as a result of this whole situation. You know, I wouldn't have been able to raise that money without first experiencing that problem. Or, I mean, I probably could have raised the money, but would I have? Would I have been inspired to? Would I have felt the need to? Sometimes you have to do things that I don't know. I'd love to donate, and I do donate. I donate quite often. I've donated this year to breast cancer research, to Lymphoma Society, I think they're called, to this charity that my brother was actually a part of. I've donated to the November Growing a Facial Hair for Men, you know, in honor of men's health. Like I'd consider myself a pretty charitable person, I think. And I don't mean that to brag at all. I'm just saying, like, this charity in particular, I don't think would have seen any of my money if it hadn't been for the situation that I was in. So that's why sometimes fate is a really odd and funny thing. Life is a funny thing. You know, to give back to people who really, really need it because of the situation that I was in. So, you know, even in the worst possible situation that I could ever imagine being in, because that honestly was, something good came of it. And that's really what the holidays were all about, you know? I'll leave you with that one. This has gone on for a long time. I just kind of wanted to get the whole story and situation off my chest. I have amazing friends and amazing followers. To every single person out there who donated to me personally to get me through that month, like I said in a tweet, I love you more than you could ever realize. Like, it just means the world to me. It literally the world to me, because my world was over. And to everyone out there who came to the live stream charity event and donated for Heifer International to help someone else in this world. I mean, yeah, it was to kill me in the game and stuff, and we all had fun. But the bottom line is that you guys actually helped someone out there, and you can feel really good about that. Someone out there who otherwise has nothing now has at least a little bit of something. So, with that said, I think we're going to end it there. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for your support. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that like button. And do all those other awesome things that you people do, because you are awesome people. And we'll see you next time on the RedCubed server, where now I'm just basically hopping back and forth. Bye-bye.